Hey guys, welcome back to Street Fighter Duel. In today's video, I want to do a beginner's guide for the game. Now, I'm going to go through the basic stuff for idle game stuff in this video as well, but if you've played like AFK Arena, this game is pretty much one-for-one cloned from the core systems of that, so you'll be pretty fine. If you haven't played idle games, I will go through that stuff, but before we go into that, I'll leave some timestamps around. I wanted to go into the characters and the combat, because I feel like that's the most unique thing about this. So we'll cover the basics of that first, and then we'll go into the more of the general idle games type stuff for those who haven't played many idle games before. But like I said, there will be timestamps to jump around, and I will be doing more in-depth guides and stuff like that in the future. This is just your basic one to get you started. And like I said, we'll kick it off with characters and combat. Character progression is very basic in itself. You basically have gear that you can equip. You've got different styles of gear denoted by the type that they are, which if I move my head here, you can see he's a power type. So that type of gear, that type is going to determine what type of gear they have. You can see we've got the power type, and then we've got agility type, and then intellect type. So there's 3 different types of gear that you're going to be able to go for to put on your characters. You only ever want to level 4 units. You never want to have a fifth unit leveled. Otherwise, that's experience you could have put into another unit. So keep that in mind. Different ways you can go about it. I play around. You can level one unit further than the other. You will hit a point where a unit can't be leveled anymore because the other units have to reach a certain level. For instance, I couldn't get him to 121 unless the rest of my units are at level 120. So the way I normally do it is I normally level one main unit 20 levels above the rest, and then bring the others up, and then do that again. Think about this game compared to something like AFK Arena and other idle games is a lot of those other idle games you can just do pretty well with one carry unit and have them the only one survive in battle. In this game, you do need a team because you need to combo. So, you know, having a real hyper carry like 40 levels above isn't as viable in this game from my testing so far. So keep that in mind with progression. Now, when we take a look at skills, we're going to do a basic look at combat here. It's fairly quick to pick up. Your characters have, if we jump over into combat, we'll take a look at it so we can form a team. When we look at combat, very basic guide. I'll probably do a more in-depth combat guide, but let's jump into this first. So, firstly, you have 4 main slots. 3 main slots are the characters that come into the battle at the very start, and then you got a sub-slot. So when someone dies, that character comes forward. The other 2 remaining spots, those are just stat sticks. They're really good for making your faction bonus, so swapping the factions around to make sure you get the best bonus that you can get. As you can see, I use 2 lightning dealers, 2 lightning units to pair up with my 2 lightning units to give me the 4-piece faction bonus. So use those flex slots to really help you out with making these faction bonuses. But when we look at this, so when you go into combat, only your 3 active units can use their super combo start skill. And then once you use the super combat, I'm just going to say the ultimate because it's so much easier than super combo. But yeah, so once the character uses their ultimate, then your sub unit, you can see my Zangief in the back here, I can start using his abilities in the combo chain. I just can't use his first ability. However, once one of these units dies and he comes forward, I can use his ability straight up, because once he's on the field, it's fair game. And what you want to do is you want to set your presets here on what order you would like skills to go through. And each character, as you level them up, they're going to have an ultimate skill, they're going to have a passive, and then they're going to have 2 combo skills. Now, there's 3 combo slots, so each character is going to miss a combo slot for their skills. So as you can see here, something like Mad Ryu has a combo 2 and a combo 3, so that's what he's locked into. So you don't want to bring like 4 units to battle that all have combo 1-2 abilities. You want to spread it out so that you can do full 3-chain combos. It's not until level 61, I believe it is, that you'll unlock the second combo skill for units. So until level 61, you will be stuck with only two combos. But that's what you want to do. You want to round it out. The other thing I like doing is not leaving any spot where only one unit can fill that purpose. There are situations in which I will do that, but in general, if one unit dies, I don't want to then have no combo 3 units. Or if one unit dies, I don't want to have no combo 2 units. So you want to kind of balance out your team like that so that if someone does die, you can still keep comboing off when they are gone. And that is pretty much the basics to combat. The one other main thing to consider in combat is speed. Speed is everything. Characters have a speed stat, and the fastest, if you get the first strike because you have the fastest speed, you're normally going to get to combo off first. That's why when you come to campaign, things like Chun-Li over here, if you can see her in the top corner, she's super fast. So you've really got to counter her with speed. Now, as you work through in the fairly early game, you will unlock this speed artifact, I call them. I don't know what they're called in these. But this one is Fighting Soul, the Fighting Souls. Fast Chance. So this one gives you speed. So that increases my Yuri, I don't know how I'm supposed to say it, to 132 speed. At base, she's only 124. And that means I'm able to outspeed the opponent team. What I'll do is I'll show you here quickly that I'll get first strike advantage. I'm still stuck at this stage though. But you can see I got first strike bonus, and you'll see I go into my combo just before the enemy does, because they're very quick as well. But I do get to combo off first because I got that first strike and I was faster than them. Now, if we bounce out and go away from this and I just duck out. Wait, do we have a chance here? No, we don't. Okay, so if I leave that and jump back in, and I say put her in my sub slot, and that's the other thing, your fast unit also has to be in your 3 active spots because they've got to get their attack in. So if I sub her out to here, you'll see I no longer have a fast unit. Just trust me, these guys are all pretty slow. Until Beast Zangief gets to level 121, he gains extra passive speed. But as you can see, the enemy got the first hit bonus, and now they're comboing off first. So you get put at a pretty hefty disadvantage. There could be unique situations in which you do want to go second, but in general, you normally want to go first. So speed is a very, very important thing. Now, there are other effects of like different effects that fill up your ultimate gauge and stuff like that, but that's a bit more advanced. Basically, you just want to be fast. If you're struggling because your opponent is hitting you first, just, put a fast unit in there. And like I said, once you get an artifact, look for units that have fast base speed, put that artifact on, and then you should be able to outspeed just about anything in campaign. So now that we've done characters and combat, I want to jump into the summon system because there's a few things that are different in this summoning system to other games. Firstly, if we look at it, so we've got the standard, we've got faction summons, we've got standard summons, and we've got friendship summons. The cool thing about the faction summons is you can switch free of cost. A lot of games charge you to switch faction. So no matter when you get faction summons, if there's a faction you're going for, you can switch to it and you can summon them. Now, obviously, you want to make friends and do the send, receive hearts and get some friendship summons. But the next thing I wanted to really focus in on is going to be this banner. So this banner, the general banner for your first 50 pulls, none of the variant units are available. For instance, Beast Zangief. This is Zangief, but Beast mode. So look for those variant names, and that's how you know they're a variant unit. Once you do 50 summons, you'll get a notification that says variant units unlocked, which means you can actually summon them. Mad Ryu is another one. Can't get him until you do 50 summons. Also, I did a ton of rerolls. I never saw a single, and I mean a ton, a single Chun-Li. I basically never saw one before 100 summons, which is her. She's the first purchase unit. So, she's a tough one to get as well. Until maybe you can, and I just had horrible luck. But the amount of rerolls I did, I thought I would have seen one of her before the wishlist got unlocked, but I didn't. So like I said, after 50 pulls, you unlock the variant units. Having said that, the light dark units can all be pulled no matter when, but they're just so low, it'll take you so long to get one. Then when we jump to the wishlist unlocks after you do 100 summons. This is where you get to set 5 characters from each faction. However, from 100 to 200 summons, it's not guaranteed to give you those wishlist characters. It's just an increased rate. Then once you hit 200 summons, then you are guaranteed to get these guys. So every time you summon on this banner and get a purple hero pop up, or a triple S, whatever you want to call it, it will be one of these guys. The only situation in which it won't be one of these guys is when it's one of the light dark units. I'm just going to refer to them as light dark because more people understand it that way. So that is the only time it's not going to be one of these guys. So now that I've done 200 summons, I'm always getting one of these guys on my wish list, if it's not a light and dark unit. So that is pretty much all that we have to do with summons. And then it's got the standard idle thing of progression. As you summon more, you get extra rewards. At 100 summons, you're going to get a card that you can choose a faction and you get a character from that faction. But those cards do not obey the wish list. So that's it for summons. Now we're going to bounce over and go through, the basic idle function. So if you're a competent idle player, you can probably bounce out at this point. But if you're still feeling new to idle games, the rest of this video is for you. So first of all, it's an idle game. So it's not one of those games where you're going to be farming all the time. There's always something for you to do, and that is to push where you're up to. Now, eventually, you are going to get bricked walls. So always remember that every it doesn't matter how much you spend or how far you push in an idle game, there is going to be a point where you are not strong enough to keep going, and that's just the way it is. So that is the first fundamental of idle games that you got to get around. But basically what you're going to have is two main modes that you can always push in your free time. You got your campaign mode here. Now, campaign in the early game is what you really want to prioritize pushing, going as far as you can until you're stuck, because this is going to increase your AFK loot, which is going to give you more experience and allow you to level your characters more. So campaign is a key thing. Also, pushing campaign unlocks new features along the way, and it's just core to everything, especially in the early game. Now, in idle games, often late game, your focus shifts away from that, but at the moment in this game, everyone's pretty much going to be focused on getting their campaign progression as far as possible, and everything else that you do is to assist with the campaign progression. So past campaign progression, the other mode that we have, which once again, like campaign, you can continuously push, is going to be the tower. So when you get stuck in campaign, go ahead and push tower if you've got nothing else to do. If you're stuck at both of them and you've done everything else that there is to offer for your current stage of the game, then you can go AFK and wait for some loot. But the tower is really nice. It's going to give you some extra summons, some extra fodder, and also some extra triple S units. And then it's also going to give you the breakstone, which is used for limit breaking, and then a bunch of gold. So, tower's not as vital as campaign. It doesn't unlock features, but it's really good to just level up next to campaign and keep your progression even. As we move past that, the extra stuff that we have the labyrinth mode that unlocks every second day. When I go through these, I just try and make sure I take the path with the most enemies. If there's a split where I can take a purple enemy over a blue enemy, I will do that, but not at the sacrifice of an extra battle. So that's basically it. Just try and get as many battles in as possible to get as many points along the way. And that's pretty much the only real tip to this one. It's fairly easy to just clap through this. I've never had any issues in these type of idle games. So, it's just free stuff every 2 days. It takes you a little bit of time. Just like I said, try and prioritize fighting as many enemies as possible when you do go through it. As we move on from that, the global operation. Now, these things are one of missions that you can complete. I'm just up to the boss here waiting to get some mercenaries. You can use mercenaries in these, and when you use a mercenary inside these, they can be used for the whole run through of the event. So once you start getting to some harder ones, the first couple are pretty easy, but you can just chuck a mercenary in there and you can go ahead and use that and just clap through these things. And they give you really solid rewards, so they're definitely something you want to prioritize doing to get all those rewards that they do provide. So that is that one. Then obviously down here we have bounties, which is your general dispatch mode. Not much explaining needed to do with that, just auto dispatch and away you go. Over in the arena here, we have our basic arena. You definitely want to do at least your free battles every day. Keep in mind, as you progress through higher rankings in arena, you do get gem rewards from missions. So it is nice to push up. You do get free bonus tickets all the time as you go along every day through dailies and stuff like that. There was the lottery event that gave them. There'll be multiple ways to get them along the way. So definitely pushing, at least doing your free attempts at this every day, your three free attempts is going to be a very important one, just to... You can also get some nice rewards from it and stuff like that. You can extra gems, gold. I'm pretty sure they have a chest in here as well that can have different goodies in it as well. It's a low drop rate, but you can get those types of things. So definitely doing your arena every day is going to be an important one to do. Battle Royale, that comes out at 8-4. I'm not quite there yet on this account. And then over here in training. Now, there's a few things in training that I want to talk about. Limit Break. Now, this one you unlock. This is where, in this game, a lot of other idle games require you to have 5 units to at the max level, but this game only requires 4 units, and then any other unit you put in the bottom here is going to take the lowest level of those units. So basically what this is telling you is never level more than 4 units, because you can just bring the other units up to their levels, which is quite handy. So just keep that one in mind. If you do have a unit that's not limit broken far enough to keep leveling, you can reset them over in the fighter section, which is something that I've just done before, but you can reset the hero if they can't go any higher level due to their ascension, and then you can just level up another unit and then chuck that unit back over into the system to get them up to the level back into the limit break system. In your dojo here, you can see we get some goodies along the way. I forgot to collect one yesterday, I think, so we're going to get some goodies along here. Very basic stuff. You just go ahead and collect those. You're going to unlock more features to the dojo as you go, but it's very, very basic stuff. The only thing you want to do is over here, you see I got the presents in the middle, but if you haven't got them in the middle there, you can come over here and you can basically go to your friends, and that's where you can get some of those little goodies. But very basic, nothing too involved here. This is also where we find the mercenary function. Now, I believe this happens once you clear chapter 6. You unlock the mercenary function, so you can go and hire your friends' units, and we can go over here and we can request off anyone we want. And that's the basics behind the mercenary feature over there. EX moves, I'm just sort of saving on my EX moves. You get 2 of them free along the way. Then you got to build up some resources. So I'll cover EX moves in a future video once it's more prominent. And I feel like more like free-to-play type players are at that point of stressing about it. Moving past that, we have the shop. Daily, the shop does get some breakstones. I've been buying them early on. Later on, I'll shift away from it probably. They are quite expensive, but early on, it just saves me having to try and get those extra stones. Besides that, I don't really buy anything else from the general shop. We got a guild shop as well, which once again, we can get some of those EX skills as well. The dismissal shop, so as you summon the common units that you just dismiss, you can get some of these coins, and eventually you'll pick up some of those. And then over here in the shop for the labyrinth, you can take your pick over here. I'm still undecided on what I'm going to go for, so I'm just going to hold up. I'm thinking about going for Jury on this one, just because I want to test it, but we'll have to see, because it is quite expensive. And the final core feature that we really have, aside from events and stuff like that, that will be popping up, is going to be the guild function. Get yourself in a guild, also get a bunch of friends as well. Very typical to idle games. You can do guild donations to get some points, and then you can do your battles every day. Now, when we look at these ones, the first one, you get 2 challenges per day. As we get further into the game, you will unlock 3, I believe. And then this one, your guild has to generate points, and then you can unlock it, and then you can fight this one. Really active big guilds, I'd say, will eventually be doing this almost daily. But if you're in an inactive guild, you probably won't see this one too much. It just depends on the guild you're in. And like I said, you also want to make a bunch of friends. Just go over here to add, go players, and then just scroll through, do add, refresh, go through, add them all, refresh, and you just want to fill out your friends list. One, it gives you access to those mercenaries if you've got some decent friends on your list, but also it allows you to quick accept all the hearts because they give you friendship summons, which then you can go over here and pop for some summons. Low rates, but you know, you might get something. So I think that just about covers it for the beginner's guide. Let me know if there's anything else you guys want to know. Like I said, I'm a bit late on getting into all the guides and stuff for this game. It's been out for, I think, a week now. But if there's anything you want to know, let me know. I'll make a guide for it. I'm going to be focusing more on free to play. I always do in idle games because, like I said, at the end of the day, in an idle game, doesn't matter how much you spend, how much you play, you will eventually hit a point where you're stuck. So I prefer playing the free-to-play route. So that's what I'll focus on mainly, is free-to-play progression and stuff like that. So like I said, I'll make more guides, but let me know if there's anything you guys want to see. Thanks for watching. Hope you have an awesome day, and I'll look forward to seeing the next one. Cheers.